Welcome back to the Always Thinking Mindset channel, where we give you positive vibes and simple rules to achieve your goals. We share content to expand your mindset and overcome any obstacles that are in your way. In this channel, we focus on personal growth and achieving your full potential. And it all starts with mindset. Now, if you haven't yet subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you like today's episode, smash that like button. All right, let's get started. So in this episode, we are speaking on mental health. The topic is called The Truth About Mental Health. The truth shall set you free, right? I think we have to come to a realization of what is mental health and why do we need it. Many generations have deferred this or pushed this off on the next generation. And speaking of your mental health seems to classify you as weak. I disagree. I think this generation is doing a great job by putting it on the table and discussing their mental health. That's a part of your body, an organ. Why wouldn't you take care of it? Anyways, as always, we speak on the quote. The quote is, "It is during our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light." Aristotle said this, who was a philosopher. And I guess in this quote, he just reminded us that everyone goes through a dark day or a dark time. And it's up to us to stay focused on the light, right? Because once you're in that dark tunnel, you think that there's no way out and this is the way things are. But in reality, if we stay focused on the end goal, which is the light, that there are going to be better days, this is how we break free of the darkness. Now, which brings me to my first rule about mental health. Yes, it does matter. What does that mean? Your mind and body are one. This should be taken care of just like a temple. We must feed it good nutrients. We must protect it, have social interactions, everything they always tell you, yet people ignore. It does matter because we, as living human beings, have to interact with one another and can usually tell whether somebody's off or just not right or just in a funky mood. And we have to do better at spotting it and fixing it. Now, with mental health, we have to protect it. The way you protect mental health is stop overdoing everything, right? You come first. You come before you. Don't abuse it. We can't abuse our minds and expect our bodies to keep going. Now, the way this works is that mental health is usually in the mind and in the brain. It depends on your feelings, but it also comes off as being around in your body. It does matter because mental health is something that people like to talk about, but are too scared to be judged by others. Now, with this being said, we have to feed our mind positive thoughts, be in a positive environment, and let ourselves be happy. In order to do this, which brings me to my second rule, we have to set boundaries. Boundaries, what is that? Right? These are limits that you put in place so you don't overwork. Imagine a car that's just being idled full throttle all the time. Sooner or later, that engine is going to burn out. Same thing goes for your mind. Don't overwork. Learn to take it in small steps or small chunks. Now, the saying goes, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? Because too much work We'll experience burnout, not only in the mind, but the body. The body gets sick, right? Because there's so much cortisol, so much stress. It doesn't know how to react to it because it hasn't been put in that environment. When we set boundaries, we have to set them for ourselves. No one's going to do it for you. No one's going to tell you, hey, are you good with your mental health? These are questions we usually ask ourselves to say, where am I? Am I in good health? Do I need to take care of myself better? When setting boundaries, we must not only work, but rest. We have to rest to repair ourselves, to keep going in this marathon of life. In order to set boundaries, we have to come to a realization what we can do and what we can't do. Usually, what I do is ask myself, is this something I can control? Right? Because if I can't control it, then why waste energy on it? Right? I'd rather focus myself on other obstacles. But at the same time, we do have to set boundaries so we don't get off sort of like guardrails on a road. They're there for a reason. Now, the next rule is usually listening to your body and mind. Now, this can go off-road sometimes. Sometimes we think we have to work harder, right? Because we'll be considered weak or this is just a phase. And you got to understand that your body is not a robot. It has cells and physiological components that usually wear off. Too much will usually lead to burnout. So listen to your body. Don't ignore it. Be real. Who cares what people think? See, the majority of the time of why people ignore their mental health is because they always feel that other people will judge them. And you're taking care of yourself. When you take care of yourself, you feel better. You're able to help those around you. It's kind of like running a car on empty with no gasoline. How do you expect to move and continue this journey? What we have to do is listen to our bodies, listen to our mind, and sometimes break away from this monotony of work routine. We have to find ourselves of who we are and where we want to be. Now, the next rule is the muscle. You got to understand what the brain is. It's an organ that needs to be treated just like a muscle. We must strengthen it and we must build it. Just like exercise, we have to stay constant with it in order to improve it. Now, the way to go about this is either reading a book, taking time off, always having a vacation. I don't think you can have too many vacations. But strengthen it. Take care of it. Don't put toxins in your body or your mind. And just focused on improving brain health and body health. Your body will naturally adapt to it. Trust me. I've done this myself. It's a muscle, right? If we don't improve the muscle, then it's going to get weak. And just like everything else, you can Google studies on this and it will talk about neuroplasticity, how the neurons have to fire and keep it going in order to remain strong. Now, don't ignore that muscle. That's the most important one. Which brings me to my last rule, which is maintain it. Yes, it's one thing to repair, but it's another thing to maintain it. Every day, we got to work on the little things, right? The little wins, because that leads up to a bigger win. And just like the analogy I use, just like a car, we must maintain it in order to prevent future repairs. You have to understand what mental health is in order to attack it. And I say this because a lot of humans or people come down the path of not getting or addressing or spotting the issue, right? We shrug it off and say, oh, this is nothing, or this is just me, lack of sleep. Well, improve your sleep, get your health quality back, right? Read more, spend time outside with the sun and nature. This is going to heal you. You will feel a difference. Now, with that being said, I'm an attorney, and I can tell you about mental health. I've experienced burnout. I used to work 16 hours a day, including the weekends, and I used to come home and say, what am I doing? I would feel it the next day. Sometimes I just wanted to lay in bed all day. But you got to understand that when that happens, yes, hard work is good and it will lead to success. But we have to put sometimes in pause in order to complete the mission. Because in my field, the badge of honor was earned by burnout. That didn't make sense to me. You had to show your worth and say, well, how far can you mistreat your body and mind? And that's the most dumbest way of looking at stuff, when it should be the opposite, which is how good do you take care of your mind and body, right? Now, I'm not one where I let other people's beliefs weigh on me. I can care less. But I will tell you, I've pushed myself to the limit, and I know where it's at. I know when I'm grumpy. I know when I'm hungry. I know when I'm happy. Just use that data to improve every day. Because mental health is a new, quote unquote, new thing, which we cannot ignore anymore. The past generations have gotten on the newer generation for being weak or always complaining. But in reality, they're bringing this issue to the table now. Now it's okay to discuss of why you're feeling the way you do. And about 95% of the time, it's because of the job we work that we don't like. And it's okay. We can change things. We can adapt to things. We can add on to things. All I'm saying is take care of your mind and your body, and it will take care of your soul. Well, that ends today's episode. And if you haven't yet subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you like today's episode, smash that like button. It's good for your mental health. Also, comment below. Tell me your thoughts on today's topic. Am I right? Am I wrong? Share some stories with yourself of how have you overcome certain mental health issues. Now, as always, go out and be positive.